Good morning, everybody. It's 10:10 here. Um, and honestly, I okay. Welcome to of course, the one and only Adam Jen or the Pear Prince. And forgive me right now because if you can see, this is what happens when you spend time in the sun and let your hair grow down to here. Because I cut my hair last night, woke up, looked in the mirror this morning, and was like, oh my gosh, why is my face so red? If it's not red, it's the sun. So I gotta let my forehead get a suntan on shit now. But either way, I got on here. I'm doing a little bit of wake and bake because I've got so much shit on my mind, and like I actually went and spent some time with my niece and her boyfriend yesterday, and the only reason that I'm even saying anything on here about it is because nobody in my family watches my YouTube channel. Nobody is subscribed to it. So I could literally sit here and talk shit about family members because nobody watches it in my family at all. But I'm not like that. I love my family. I have no reason to say nothing bad, but I can tell you this without going into much detail. For the first 23 years of my life, there were so many little odds and ends that I saved throughout my life just because of the fact that I either thought it was cool or it was something that my granddaddy left me when he passed away when I was only 11 years old. Um, and also, everything I had to remember my mom by when she passed away in 2011, the day after she passed away, all the aunts and uncles and people were in the house marking shit that they wanted. And I ended up getting like a handful of records because my mom had this big record player, and my granddaddy, my mom's dad, he actually left me a Zenith record player, the type that's made back in the '60s, that literally look like they're literally about 5 feet long, about 3 feet off the ground, and some of them open in the very middle and latches up, and there's a record player, 8-track player, AM FM radio. And on the front, you can see where, it was made with, American Pride, where they carved, intricate, details in the front of the wood. And where the speakers are, it's like that carpet felt material. And, like, that was, the biggest thing my grandfather ever left to me. And I kept that from the time I was 12 all the way up until I was 24, almost 25, right before my mom passed away. And being that in 2015, when my father started to rent out the house here in North Carolina, it's like I said, everything that I had collected over a period of 23 years, shit while I was in North Carolina, a little treasure box looking thing that my grandfather let me have that was full of like notes that were written to me by all these different females in high school. Um, a couple pairs of girls' underwear. Um, just stuff that has a lot of sentimental value to me. And um, and also, when it comes to like antiques and collectibles and shit, I've always taken after my mom and stuff about that. And like, um, my first year when I moved to the village, and the first gig I got out there after the first fishing trip that I tried wasn't successful. I ended up cleaning and gutting this one house, and basically the owner said that all the shit that was left inside that house was up for grabs for anybody who wanted it, because it was all basically bullshit. Big ass fire waiting to happen, but there was some pretty good stuff in that house that I got, and my pride and joy that I got out of there was the original 1984 tin metal ET lunchbox. And I opened it, and on the inside, the thermos that had never been used was still inside. And I happened to look over, and I kid you not, the original E.T. doll that originally came out was right next to that lunchbox. And this doll was like, you could tell that like it had seen better days, because from just sitting there for years, like the pleather, like you could tell that like he was peeling from where some of the stuff was, just the material was coming off, but you could still tell it was E.T. So that lunch box and all that stuff was in a certain box that I had to pack in 2011 when my mom passed away. I had, certain records. I had these tin metal like signs that were at least like probably 1.5 feet by a foot. Because my mother, like, she loved Wizard of Oz. That was her all-time favorite movie. She had, this china cabinet, basically displaying all of her Wizard of Oz stuff that she had collected throughout her life. And, I got a couple of those tin metal signs to keep, to remember her by, along with just small things, like, from here and there that doesn't mean shit to anybody else, but to me it means the world. And for the past 13 years, I have straight up been lied, or no, not 13, but almost 12 years now. Ever since my mom passed, I have been lied to my face when it comes to that box. That I remember how I packed it. I remember I put the lunchbox towards the bottom, because when I pack shit in a box, I make sure that all of the square rectangular shit is towards the bottom. Like, I literally kind of like pack shit like I'm playing Tetris. I try to make the most room out of what space is given. So I know what was in that box, and I know that my own sister would had to have went through that box at least to 3/4 of the way down. And all the stuff that for 10 years I kept bringing up to both sisters was, y'all, please don't ever throw that box away that is in the outbuilding that is sitting on some land that my mom wanted to get before she passed away, because my ultimate dream was to build a house on that land. And my mom, she was gonna like let me design a big ass pond to put out there, because that was like one of my and my mom's favorite pastimes, was going fishing. Even if it was a cane pole and we didn't catch nothing, we still had each other, and we loved each other so much. That's all that mattered. And it's just like all of that stuff has been thrown away. I know for a fact that I've been lied to for over 12 years straight to my face, because the lunchbox is actually sitting in my nephew's room upstairs at my sister's house, where obviously I can't get to. But that doesn't mean my father, my niece, and other people who have been to their house have not seen it sitting in his room. And when they kept hearing me mention E.T. in a lunchbox, they didn't put two and two together. So they're like, oh, hey, well, you look, check this one out. They brought it down, and I'd be goddamn if it wasn't the one that I collected that was mine. I open it. The only thing that's inside was, the only thing that was inside was 10 pictures of my sister when she was like in high school with one of her friends. And other than that, the thermos was nowhere to be found, nothing like that. So I didn't say nothing, because I don't want to cause any kind of problems. Even though she had been caught in the middle of a 10-year span of a lie. And then in 2021, when I came home, when I was a teenager, my godfather collected antiques. He collected like an old school payphone, an old school fire hydrant, like just all kinds of shit. And he also was so proud of like this beer stein that he would get, like, you know, a new stein added to it from the Budweiser collection every year. Even though he didn't drink, he still loved the designs, and he also loved like antique shit too. So the last remaining item that I had to remember my grandfather by my mom's dad was a blue metal tractor that was built, I want to say, in the 60s or 70s, because it was built with that American pride where they built toys out of metal that could be dropped from the 10th story of a building and not a dent would be in it. And it was made so detailed that the little metal steering wheel actually turns the front two tires on the tractor. And it's a blue tractor, and then it's supposed to have like white things that go over both big tractor, the big back tires of the tractor. And my godfather gave it back to me in 2021 before I went back up to Alaska. This was in August. And the last week we were here in North Carolina, we stayed here at my sister's house, and I had enough room in my suitcase. I made sure I did, to where I could take the tractor back with me, because literally that is the last materialistic thing that I have to remember my grandfather by. And my dad was just like, just give it to your sister. We're only going to be gone for 1 year before you move back home. So basically he was saying, just leave it at my sister's house And, you know, it would be 1 year, and I would be moved back home by August of 2022, which I was. But now, as of early last week, and as of yesterday, when I actually went to go pick my niece up and spend time with her and her boyfriend, um, while I was there, I sent my sister a message asking if she had, you know, looked for the tractor or found it. And instead of her saying, like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I've been looking for it, I still haven't found it, um, or I haven't had time yet, let me check around after a while, she literally sat there and was just like, I don't think you ever left something like that here. She was just like, are you sure you left it here at my house? And I was like, yes, and Andrea, I was like, yes, sis. I was like, I handed it to you the day before we left, and I remember specifically asking you, or not, and telling you, do not let my nephew play with it, because I did not want him to get hurt. I did not want him to get cut from it, because, like I said, this toy is made out of metal, and it was made back in the 60s and 70s. When kids would fall, get cut, scraped up, cut by their toys, they didn't cry and like bitch about it. So, and it's like I said, this is the last materialistic thing that I have to remember my grandfather by. And my sister's trying to sit there and like play dumb and say that she doesn't think I asked her to keep it. And I'm just like, I was just like, I know it's there because Dad just seen it when we were living with y'all before I found this townhome last year. Like, he noticed it. Like, he has seen it. So, honestly, if my own sister tells me that she cannot find this tractor and that it is not there at all, then the only thing that means is that she took something that weighed maybe 3 to 5 pounds and meant more than fucking money or gold could ever mean to me, because I've already had to just let go of the fact that she did not care at all about the attachments I had to all of the shit that I saved to remember my mom by. But yet she went through the box and she took all the stuff, and to this day lies to me in my face that she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I hit my head hard when I had my accident. You can see the scar back there. And it's just like, I don't know if she thinks that I don't remember anything, because up until the day of my accident, I could tell you almost everything that I did in my entire life up until the day of my accident. After my accident, there are things that you can tell me like today, and then tomorrow you can ask me about it, and it will completely have fucking just went in one ear or out the other. And that's just because I can't help it. Like, that's how hard I hit my head, so I can't help it. And it's just the fact that, like, I've had to not being sneaky about it when it comes to my own, like, belongings, but having to, like, low-key ask your niece to, like, search in different areas just to see if my fucking tractor is there, because my sister is too lazy to open the fucking closet door. Like, I mean, it's just like, honestly, I know why. Like, The only reason I decided to stay in North Carolina is because of my sister in the first place. I already had shit lined up. I was supposed to be living 2 hours away in Virginia right now, where all of my healthcare needs would be taken care of. I wouldn't have to be so stressed out about having at least like almost $1,000 that is owed to different doctors' offices that I can't afford to pay. So much stuff has already been sent to collections that I have a payment set up with them every month on the second. Take out $25 because I honestly don't have an extra 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, however much like my bill is, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And so like that's what I sacrificed when I moved to North Carolina and decided to fucking stay. Like for the first time since the year 2000, when my sister graduated high school and left to go to college. First off, she had a full scholarship, a free ride at UNC Greensboro in North Carolina to be a doctor. 4 years regular college, and then 4 years on top of that. Everything was covered because that school wanted her bad because she had such good grades, did so good in high school, homecoming queen like 2 or 3 years back to back. She just had, the best childhood or school life she could ask for. Like she was in like marching band from the time she could play the trumpet till she graduated. Like she was the golden child of the family because of how good she did in school. My parents were so proud of her that they bought her a brand new car when she turned 16. And until this fucking day, she's 41 now. She's had one husband. She's with her second husband now. Not a goddamn one has ever bought her a brand new anything. Like my dad is the only man who has ever bought her a car. Like, and her brother is the only person who, without a second thought, sent $5,000 like a wire transfer to her bank the very next fucking day because I was told that the unfit father who's a piece of shit that his parents wanted to take my sister to court to get full custody over their granddaughter who they barely even seen at the time. So, like a brother, and because my niece was the one, this is the niece that made me an uncle in the very beginning when I could still walk and everything. So it didn't take a second for me to say, okay, I'll go as soon as the bank is open tomorrow. Well, anybody who's ever done a wire transfer, especially over like $1,000, you get hit with fees and shit. So it costs around closer to like $5,400 just to wire transfer 5,000. And to this very day, I've never been paid back. I was offered 40 ounces of silver in the year 2015 when the prices had dropped down to $16 an ounce. Because years before that, I was collecting silver, and at the all-time high, it was $26 an ounce. So, my brother-in-law, not even my sister, took me outside when we were home for Christmas and sat there and handed me 40 ounces of silver, and all it accumulated to was $640. I did the math in my head, and even though I knew it was $640, My brother-in-law knew it was $640. Just because I wanted to try to be a good uncle, and out of the kindness of my heart, I was just like, give me the four bars, and y'all just owe me $4,000 now. Don't worry about, that you're only fucking $360 short of 1,000. But I accepted that because I was doing what my heart was telling me to. And before I've ever seen a penny of that $4,000, less than a year later, I was asked for an additional $5,000. But this time but this time I demanded to see the contract with the attorney. I said, because if he told you $5,000 was all it was going to cost in the beginning, why did it all of a sudden jump up to 10? And she didn't want to send me any type of documents, any paperwork, nothing like that. So therefore, I didn't send another $5,000. But when it comes down to this tractor that I'm talking about, it's like I said, if it comes to the point where she says that it is just not at her house, when I know 100% for a fact that it is, and my dad even says it is because he's seen it there just when we were living there last year before I moved in here, it's at their house. It's in her house. And if she actually took it and threw it away, that is going to be the last straw that I take from anybody in my family, because I feel like the only time fucking people in my family contact me is when they fucking want something, or they need to borrow something, or they just need me to fucking chauffeur somewhere, or just do some shit like that for free. Oh, well, blah blah, like, just, I mean, I can come on here onto my own YouTube channel, and I can share with all you beautiful people. I have a handful of people I know by name: Miss Sandy, Amanda, I went to school with, or Noria Astra, Miss Sandy, Amanda, Alessandro Trieste. I mean, it's like I said, in my own family, like the people whose blood runs through their veins, the same kind that runs through mine, not one of them watches my content. Not one of them supports me in any of the goals I try to set for myself. Not one. I fucked up by thinking that this is where I belonged by listening to my heart last year. Because when you have a sister come to you after literally 20 years of not even like living in the same area near you or nothing, when you have that person walk up to you and is almost in tears saying that they need their brother to live near them because my niece and nephew need their uncle, blah blah blah. I moved into this house in November 5th of last year. Excuse me. And my sister might have come over less than 10 times. I mean, I want to say maybe around 6 times. But I honestly don't even think it's been that much. But all of that's about to change because I have to pay $200 every month for my HOA membership fees. Well, included in that is a pool access and tennis court access. And being that this is my home, I'm entitled to up to 5 bracelets. You have to wear a bracelet when you go to that pool. And like one thing I could have done was